Welcome back to the Duel podcast with your host Alicia Solomon and myself Megan Hines, where every week we talk the challenge, and we're back again to talk about the challenge All Star Season 4, Episode 3, where more shenanigans happened, another person left, and we got another uncle just came into the party, and I'm like, hold on, what is going on?
They got immediately shipped out.
Grand opening, grand closing.
Crazy.
So, first off, Grant, what are your initial thoughts of this season from the first two episodes we got?
I'm loving it. Like this is the type of stuff that I want to see. Like you got the perfect mix of you get the strategy, you get the gameplay, but it's not too centered around the challenges, the competition. Like you have all these characters, all these different personalities that make the show watchable because they make Ayanna excluded. All the drama and all the conversations are genuine and organic. Ayanna, she drums up the drama, but it's entertaining watching the mess that she creates. Whereas on the flagship show, we get all that fake stuff going on, people trying to protect each other. And I like the fact that they're playing their own game, and we'll get to it later on where I'm saying that, where we got to see people playing their own games. But I love it. I'm loving the season.
Well, we come into episode 3 where, because of Janelle's departure last week and people didn't want to compete in elimination, Tina got her star. And she is now two of the three mean girls of the OGs who have stars in that little group. And now it's time to try to get Veronica a star. They're trying to get ultimate stars, at least start off early. And it's really funny making it. They're going to get them, but they're going to get stolen.
Right.
And then also there was a conversation about how people were adjusted to how Ayanna is now after Janelle left. And they're like, well, it's really chilly right now. People are not talking to Ayanna after what happened. And Rachel just told her, like, less is more. In which we didn't get less is more this episode for Ayanna.
She can't. She's just naturally entertaining. She can't help. She can't help it.
Yeah, more is more with Ayanna. It's no less.
Yeah, it's always something. And then Tony got an emergency phone call that made him go home. So Tony time is now at 0, and his time is up. And Nicole was very thrown off and very sad about it. Granted, I forget how close they were in their time together, especially on like Invasion. Like he was her safety net, and she's like trying to now navigate without him being there, and kind of got to lean on Laurel for a bit and lean on Jay, because Jay and Tony were like their mediators in a sense, and now things are now hot, where like now Laurel and Nicole are like beating on each other for stuff. Like that's gonna throw me out this whole season, this whole thing with them.
And I knew it was only a matter of time.
Okay, because we've seen it in the preview, like with the two of them like talking and like being together. And so like off of the first 2 episodes, I'm like, okay, obviously it's gonna be a little bit cold. Laurel is gonna be Laurel and she's gonna give you the cold shoulder, but it's not gonna last for long. I think we spoke about this last time. Like Laurel doesn't stand on her own business in terms of her relationship. So I don't buy anything that she's selling in terms of trying to give her the cold shoulder and ignore her. It was really just only a matter of time, and this clearly brought them closer together before, it started to, it was going to happen either with Tony or without Tony. The time just, ran its course up a little bit. So I'm not a fan of it. Clearly my mic isn't either, but I would say that, I mean, it was only a matter of time, to be honest. Like they knew what they were doing, putting these two fools together.
Yeah,
and I agree. And I feel like like what you were saying, Megan. I forgot they even weren't they on the same Real World season, and I just forgot that. So yeah, they are close, but I knew, just like Alicia was saying, I knew the minute because we've seen it happen so many times. Laurel and Nicole, they'll get together, they'll have their little situation, then they'll break up, have this turmoil, then come back together, do it again. So we all knew it was gonna happen. I didn't know it was gonna happen. Well, I don't know. I didn't think it was gonna happen this early, but I knew it was coming. So here we go. We know what's about to happen.
And with Tony Time's departure, we get another uncle into the fold in Syrus, who we've seen on All Stars these past couple of seasons, and he looks even better this go around. Like he was already like a little bit fit, but he lost even more weight and looks even more slimmer. He's back and he's ready to compete. What are your thoughts about Syrus coming back and what he would give? And granted, with right or no. So yeah.
I was excited to see him back. I was hoping that he could go a little further in the game, but
I mean, yeah, the brief moment of Ozempic Syrus coming back, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna hold you. Like he gave those moments, like when he looked at the camera at one time, he was like, "I want brothers to win this." Like,
right,
it's moments like that where make me like, you know what, I like Syrus. So yeah, I enjoyed to see him back. He was in great shape, and Ryan was trying to be shady, like, oh, he lost weight while he was in the old home. Like, baby, you right there with him in the old home. Like, don't let that milk fool you. It's gonna spoil.
okay. Because we age like fine wine over here. Y'all the ones that be looking like spoiled milk, but
And so they start off this daily, which is called Domino Motherfucker. And I was like, first off, I'm like, who came up with this name? Was it Samuel Jackson? So I was very confused.
Oh, wait, hold on, Megan. We might have to take your black card. You okay? Because okay,
no,
I'll say this.
No,
I'll say this because I don't play spades. I'm one of those Negroes that listen.
You
My family's
don't.
West Indian. We never played spades. I'm sorry. We play dominoes though, but spades.
Yeah.
I have no clue. What are y'all talking about? Books and I don't know. I don't know.
What?
And I'm at this age. I'm not willing to learn. I'm not gonna hold you. I've tried.
You need
I don't care. For what?
It gets real when you play that game.
No thanks. But what I will say is dominoes is like, I feel like it's universal more than spades. I feel like spades is more of a connectivity to Black people, but when somebody wins domino, and I don't care what language it is, when I see the Dominicans and Puerto Ricans out there on the table playing it outside, they yelling curse words too. So domino motherfucker is like, that's the winning stamp on it. It's not exclusive to just, I feel like it's universal. I will say that.
I was just saying that's because whenever I think of motherfucker, I think of Samuel Jackson. That's the only reason why I said that.
Oh, because I'm about to say, listen, if you never heard anybody say domino motherfucker after playing dominoes, we'll have a serious conversation after we get off here.
No, I'm keeping my card. Okay, people say that in the moment I was like, I didn't know with the university and people said that a lot. That's it. But in this daily, it's played in men and female players where they have to line up 10 large domino pieces from their racks and have them match the same number of little pointy thingies. Then meet them in the middle to the main domino on the platform. And the first team to finish wins, while the last 5 teams are in the pool of the losing group. And the middle group are the tribal council, basically. And it's going to be a double nation for this episode. And a lot of people were kind of smart, especially Cam and Lee were separating themselves because if they were in the bottom, they were going to be a target. Cam was smart to align herself with somebody else. Leroy went with Laura as well. So that was good on them for doing that. And once this really started happening, the song that I had for later on came on, and I was like, this is taking me back to like high school, and I loved it. But this is really good. Daily people were really working together. Some people were friends who worked together. Others who were not friends but working together just off rip, they worked really well.
Yeah, Cam not choosing Leroy was smart because Leroy is not winning a challenge. I've come to terms with that. He will never win another. He will never win a challenge. He will never win one. The only one in that family that will would be Cam. But her choosing to not be with him is smart because she would have possibly been one of the ones in the elimination if you ask me. But yeah, and then I feel like what Megan was saying too, a lot of the teams worked well together. I was shocked, but not shocked at how Rachel and Brad performed. I was expecting more from Rachel per se than Brad, but yeah, she was right. It was all brawn, no brain.
I mean, and especially in a game like this, probably it's not in their wheelhouse. So I'm not really surprised at it. But yeah, I mean, as for Cam and Leroy not working together, they need to not work together this whole season. Like, they need to just stay separate, like you're saying, because it's obvious that these two are trying to get each other to win. And I feel like it's going to come to a point where one person has a star and then they go in to get another person a star and, kind of have that whole situation going on. So once that arises, we'll see how it turns up. But overall, I just think that, first of all, shout out to Jasmine for getting out of the losing group this week because
Right.
it's been 2 weeks, and I feel like Jasmine is probably one of those people who I'm not going to expect a lot out of. Like, she can give, but it usually doesn't hit the mark for me with Jasmine and whatever she's doing, and it doesn't matter what challenge it is. Like, it could be anything. So I'm happy that she did get out of that losing group, but if Veronica goes on there one more time, I'm gonna just politely ask you, don't come back.
She
And
is like
that's just
Anissa.
no shade.
She is
It's
literally
definitely
Anissa.
giving half Anissa, half Latina. I don't know what's happening with Veronica. Like, we done seen her come back on the main show and do this, on the 2 other all-star shows and do this. Like, come on, girl. At some point, you got to give us something.
Got to. Because she ain't gave nothing since, what, Dirty 30, if you ask me? I feel like that was her returning. Was it her returning? She came for, like, the champs versus pros or whatever, but that was her first, like, main show reappearance in years. And she was good on that, but ever since then,
But I will say, if ever Veronica does get handed a star, she's losing that immediately, which
oh, yeah.
we'll get to later on. But in this daily, like, Rachel and Brad were doing really well. They had like some of the most of the Dominos. Ace and Cara were on top at one point as well. And Adam and Avery worked really well for people who didn't know each other from a can of paint. And that was really shocking to see. I'm like, oh, they're working really well, but they had a plan. A lot of people had plans. Some people didn't have plans, and obviously that didn't work out. But people had plans where, like, hey, we're going to either work one way and go backwards, or just look at the numbers on the Dominoes and do it that way. So that's really nice to see. And I was kind of shocked that Adam and Avery actually did win, because they were doing really well. Like, oh, I didn't think this. They weren't on my picks to win this daily.
I don't even be thinking about them, honestly. Like, Avery, I remember I've been paying attention to her because she's been in the star conversation. She's had her star taken away. Adam is like Ace to me. Like, because when I did my recap yesterday, whenever I did my recap, I just realized then that Ace was on the cast. Did 3-episode recaps and had no idea that he was on the cast to this point, because when he did that vote, I'm like, damn, Ace is actually really there, and I forgot he was there. But that's how I feel with Adam too. But Adam, I guess, he's probably going to have a bigger presence because apparently him and Avery started dating through this season, if I remember correctly. So, crazy. The same face she made, Alicia, the same face I made, but we going to see.
What?
It might be on some sugar daddy type thing because, Avery
this is This is why I don't watch the sport. I don't read spoilers, because if I would have heard that before, I probably would have been like, Megan, we are canceling the season. We're not doing it. I'm sorry. I can't.
Like, but maybe that,
I'm sorry.
The way she was saying too, the way she was saying, like, I don't want to win the star for me. I want him to win the star. And I'm like,
that's what I was kind of. I was like, what is she? I was like, have you even met him before? Like, where do you know him from? I guess so.
This is the start of it. So we should see we'll see if they get camera time. But I feel like that's the start of where it begins.
I knew that spoiler too, by the way. I just forgot about it. And that's why I didn't say nothing.
I don't know what to say.
I think it's a sugar daddy type of deal. Because it's like she's significantly. I don't know, but Avery's a Hooters girl still.
She definitely gives off. She'll do, Ashley Madison. She gives Ashley Madison vibes.
You remember what Nia said back whenever they was beefing?
Yeah,
Nia said she was for a prom dress. So
yeah, I mean, she gives off the energy. But Adam, does he he's on the show competing with you for $250,000? How much money does he actually have to give you? Is what I'm saying. Like, you can't be hustling backwards. Let's not do the poor pussy management anymore, ladies. Like, come on now. There's no way. There's no way.
First, random man from Atlanta and Morgan. Now Avery and Adam. We hate to see it.
Basically.
In the middle group, were Cara and Ace, Nicole and Jay, Laurel and Brandon. Jasmine and Steve, like we said, like Jasmine was trying to not be in the bottom, and she was able to make her way into the middle group. And then Cam and Ryan were the last group to get into the middle group, and this is the group that's going to be choosing of the losing people, to be men and women to go into elimination. Also, Brad and Rachel, they were just struggling. After once they got all those pieces up there, no strategy. And that made them get into the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I already touched on it. Like, it was less brains and more bronze, and honestly, those two together. I mean, if it was physical and they lost, I would have been surprised. But something like this, where he's arguing with her and she's sure and he's not sure and he don't know what's going on because he don't got his beard comb. It's like, come on, I'm not expecting anything miraculous out of these two.
Right.
To be honest.
And even on physical for Brad, I don't expect him to win that either, because granted, but he just gives me skinny, like he's like popcorn muscles. I don't see him, and then the beard is just like, I don't see him doing nothing. I don't see Brad is useless in my opinion. I don't see him bringing anything this season, competition wise or even storyline wise. The last time he had like a storyline was with that crackhead Brittany on whatever they was fooling around. Yeah. But that's it. He serves no purpose.
Joining them in the losing group were Kefla and Tina, Leroy and Flora, Syrus and Ayanna, and Derek and Veronica. Derek was struggling with Veronica, and I felt so bad for him. So I'm like, that lady is not doing much, and he's gonna get in the bottom. Look where he at, in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the middle group, like you said, are going to be choosing the men and women of these 5 teams to go in. And Flora and Brandon actually spilled something to Jasmine that Ayanna said right after the challenge was done, like catching up Syrus on what was happening, like that they're going to be in the bottom. It's either between him, Kefla, Leroy, Brad, Derek. And then Ayanna's like, oh, people are trying to split up Cam and Leroy. That's what was said on tape. And Brandon and Flora was like, oh, we heard her say it. Like, and word got back to Cam, and Cam was rightfully pissed off. Granted, if kind of got lost in translation, or did it?
A little bit of both. But that's the thing, though, when it comes to gameplay, any little bit of information can be used against you. And it's funny because this is what Ayanna did with Janelle, and it came back to bite her in the ass when they did it to her. So I was like, this is funny.
Yeah, it's true because at some point they did mention like I think on Cam and Leroy's podcast they said that Janelle did say that she wanted Jasmine, so it didn't come out of thin air, but it was
I can believe it
propositioned.
too.
Me too, but it was propositioned as if Ayanna just made it up and that she lied and she was creating a narrative for Janelle when in actuality Janelle probably did want her, but she didn't probably want to say it. So in this
Yeah.
situation, Ayanna goes and tells Syrus, who's now coming in, midway or even quarter way of them being here and saying like, hey, people are saying, like, she's putting it on the streets. She's saying streets are saying that people, want to take out Cam and Leroy and break them up essentially and not, have them because Leroy is always, like you said, Leroy mainly might be always in the losing group. So Cam is going to have to put on her game plan to always be the politician of the year. Like she's working the room hard to try to get Leroy out of anybody's name or conversation. And Ayanna just took that opportunity to probably try to make someone see that point of view and be like, okay, I can see that. And like I told you off air, I don't think that Ayanna was trying to be malicious and trying to say like, oh, people want Leroy and Cam to be broken up. I'm probably sure that people did say at some point, yo, we probably do want Cam and Leroy to be split up because it's going to be a power couple situation. And we don't want it to end up, being those two in the final because who knows what will happen. But of course, like I said, Brandon decided to clock in episode 3. He gave us some funny bars. I'm not going to hold you. Like, he did say some funny things at the end when he said that about Syrus. We'll get to it. But also in his nomination, he cracked me up with that line. But him and Flora, like also Flora, no one even cares about you. Like you're in the losing group, and you would probably be the main person to have to go in. And I'm glad she realized too. Everyone's like looking around, like I don't know, it's gonna be this person or that person. But honestly, you're not even here at this point. You are literally the wallpaper, girl. We don't even care. Like we have bigger fish to fry with Ayanna, and she just made her situation even worse. Because I think that if Ayanna would have taken a different approach, or had she taken what she had said and actually spoken to Cam about it in a more diplomatic way, she probably would have been able to kind of soothe Cam and what she said, and so it didn't make it to be a big thing. Because I think once Brandon repeated it and then Flora said she heard it and then this person and that person, it becomes a he said she said kind of telephone game where now all of a sudden it's 5 people against one person who may not actually have said that, but because those 5 people are so firm in what she said, that's what the story is. So I think that Ayanna could have played that so totally different, but she just went spiraling like everyone said. She basically became a spiral monster and just decided to, you know what, say if I'm going down, everybody's going up with me. Like, bring your ass down here too. And I mean, it can be good for your game, but in this situation, like that's not how you want to play.
She's like, somebody lied to you, Cam. They didn't necessarily lie. What she said, I'm like, no one lied to her. Everybody heard it. But then once she made it a bigger thing when she started like saying, okay, show me who it is. You couldn't just like you said, she should have just been more diplomatic about the approach. She didn't need to like go and like pull everybody else like that quote unquote heard it. And Leo was like, I'm not about to put everybody else on the street like that. I'm not doing that. Like people heard it, it still got back to Kim, address it. But she didn't address it completely because she ended up running and crying to Tina and Rachel.
Well, first what she did was drag Jasmine into it, which
I was about to say
had nothing to do with nothing, just standing in the corner, and then all of a sudden is I'm up on the phone with your ass at 4:00 in the morning trying to help you with da 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 da, and Jasmine, don't point your finger in my face. It's just like
Jasmine killed me.
When did this decide to happen? Like this had nothing to do with either of them, and I think everyone's standing in the back like, what's going on here? Like it. Ayanna just said she was tired. She probably was just a little more delusional than usual, and it just kept going in. But the pointing and looking directly into the camera and saying hilarious. Like it was just so golden. Like I really can't thank Ayanna enough for her time on this show because I get all the confusion that she brought with her. But it was still amazing to watch. Like the looking directly into the camera and like standing firmly on that. Yo, please. That lady is hilarious.
Cause the part because the Jasmine part was what took me out. Cause Jasmine at first she's just standing there watching. And then she said, bitch, who the fuck you pointing your finger at? And she said, I'm the wrong one. And Ayanna said, yeah, you are the wrong one. And I died. Ayanna is just naturally funny. Like I don't know what it is about her. I can see why they get irritated with her. But me, I feel like if I was in that house, as long as she ain't coming at me, I would be laughing the entire time. That woman is entertaining and she knows it. Like she's good TV. That's why I love All Stars, because of people like her. Like she is good TV without even she's trying, but she's not really trying because she's naturally funny. But like you said, that direct to camera took me out. When she was talking to that camera, I fell out. I love when they do that on reality TV.
I love when they break the fourth wall. I'm like, talk to me. I see when we here with you because it's hilarious. Like, you see this? I'm telling y'all, that's what I'm doing to her. No,
that shit was crazy. And Brandon and Cam's face when they was watching it, that one little scene when it was like, when she was just acting out, they was like, what are you doing?
It was when she was running around, like, trying to figure out, like, who said this? Who said that? He's just like, he said, I ain't spoke to you in 3 days. Bro, Brandon had me rolling this episode, because what are you even saying, yo?
Me.
He was
and then him laughing in the confessional, knowing that
intentionally, just he was just too funny. And that's why I said, comedy. Like during the preview, like, I was kind of off on Brandon because he can be there, but then sometimes he's not. But when he clocks in, he clocks in.
He's good.
And it's funny. He said, I ain't spoke to you in 3 days. Like, please don't bring me into this.
That reminds me when I texted you, I was watching Fresh Meat. Brandon was on that season, and it was him and Danny fighting, and I was like, listen, what is going on? It went from 0 to 100 real quick.
I didn't
he was like, I watched it on TV too, like a couple days ago when Marin was out. But the fight was hilarious. I'm like, Brandon really popping off on this? I'm like, let me see. Hopefully we get this kind of Brandon on here. Because I was like laughing at it, but I was like, this is very weird because he was being cuckoo of drunkest. But Brandon clocked in on that little fight. And I was like, okay, I'm noting that and seeing how that translates with this group. Because I know at one point he might do that again. But I digress. Like I said, after she pointed at Jasmine, she cried to Tina and Rachel. We're like, oh, we're friends. Like, we get you. Like, there's accusations flying around about you, but it's okay. I'm like, she said it. People said she said it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just weird. It was just weird seeing her cry about it at the end of it. But I was like, listen, it is what it is. Like, if you don't give us a moment to just look at it like, okay, I get it. But you're not the victim in this.
That's the part of her crazy. That's the part that makes her why everyone's like off on edge on her, because she can be sane. She can be here on the plane that we all on, that we see, that we be locked in with each other. And then she goes and does that where she's on a different world. And you're like, hey, yo, what planet are you on? Like, what are you even saying? And then she starts crying. She's bringing the Lord into this. Like, what he got to do with this? You yelling at your kids. Like, it just be all kind of things that go on with Ayanna that you'd be like, all right, girl, like, I was with you until I was with you. And then you over here just did that. So, I mean, of course, Rachel and the rest of the crew, they don't want nothing with Ayanna because she would really probably flip them off the balcony. So they're probably thinking like, yeah, let's just calm Ayanna down and, see what happens. Because the same thing happened when Laurel spoke to her after when they went out to the bar and they're in the little hotel and she's just like, oh, let me go talk to her. And she's just kind of, so what do you think about the nominations? Like, she's trying to be smooth about it because Laurel knows if she says the wrong thing, Ayanna will flip on her too. So
Yep.
I think they all kind of are like prancing around like discreetly, trying to make sure that they do not poke the bear, because once they do, it'll be all hell.
Yeah, so
on them
they know
pasty
it.
asses, okay?
They know it too. They know
And then
it.
right before nominations, it was very interesting to see that it'd be low-key kind of have a Rachel and Cara Maria alliance of sorts, like an agreement of sorts for, I don't know if it's like a long-term agreement or what, but that little moment they had together about Rachel wanting to keep her star, not being going in and not wanting Cara to vote for her. I was like, this is interesting. I get the play, like there are star holders. They kind of protect fellow star holders in a sense. So I like the little play that was. I don't know how long it's gonna last though, but I like the moment.
I ain't like it. I thought it was some punk shit. Like, y'all two are the two girls that on paper are the strongest girls in the house. And then y'all should be trying to get each other out. Cause me, if I know I'm one of the strongest ones here and there's one person here that could possibly beat me, I'm not protecting you. And to me, that's what I got from that. I'm like, Cara kind of punked out in my mind. But we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm cool with Cara playing her own game. If that's what's gonna get her to the end, that's what's gonna get her to the end. But I thought it was some punk moves. I was like, okay, both of y'all know y'all literally are gonna have to go through each other. So, but Rachel was trying to protect herself. So I see where Rachel's coming from. But Cara, I was like,
Yeah, I think that it's really early on to kind of make such firm decisions, and because Cara still has her star, she's like in that mind frame of I don't want to lose it, and I completely understand that she's one of the stronger people in the house. But I do agree in some way of a fact that like it's way too early for you guys to have to come together. Cara, you really just appeased to her rather than appeasing to your own game. Like she tried to make it seem like it was for her own benefit to align with Rachel, but honestly, it was more of a benefit for Rachel than it was to Cara. And so that's where it kind of is just like losing me with trying to see where Cara was doing. Now, as for the vote and not siding with Cam, I could see it, but like I can see it. I'm not really like firmly on Cam being like, oh my gosh, like you're my friend for years. Like, girl, that don't really mean anything when you come to these situations. So
thanks.
I could see Cara kind of really being like, I'm playing my own game. But when it comes to the agreement with Rachel, I'm kind of like, all right, you're playing more to her game than she is to your game. And I need you to make sure that you're not putting down your walls too early with these people, because Cara has a history of doing that and then getting burned. So I need her to kind of come back and focus in, be like, hey, I'm playing my game, but I'm also here noticing what everyone else, has going on.
Yeah, and then because Cara, to your point with it's Rachel's benefit. Rachel already got two built-in strong connect. Well, three that we find out with Ryan, but Tina and Veronica. That's three numbers for her. To Cara, what numbers do you have? Like, you protected somebody who's already protected. I wouldn't be keeping her. I'd be trying to get you out of here.
And that
But
also can hurt her now, because realistically, if Cam really thought like, hey, Cara's my friend, she would have probably been on her campaign trail now. But now you done put your
pissed
foot in
her
it.
off.
You don't put yourself in somebody else's fight you ain't had no business being in, and now all of a sudden you're gonna be out on an island by yourself, and you really gonna have to fight for your life.
Yeah.
That makes what the spoilers said was true with Cam and Cara going against each other throughout the season. I think that this just planted that little seed for the rest of the season. But the guys part, the uncles were like, "Hey, put us in. It's okay. It's fine." They're like, Tara's like, "I just got here. I get it." Kefla's like, "Well, I don't got connections. Once again, y'all gonna put me in no matter what. So it is what it is."
They knew it. They knew that's what's gonna happen. So it was like at this point, shit. May the best nigga win.
Period. In Africa too. Stand up, gentlemen.
Right.
In Africa.
And
Keep rolling.
We
When
forgot
Kefla
to
was
mention
like,
that with
when
the
Kefla,
dominoes.
at the end of the challenge, he was like, I can't believe Black people them lost in dominoes in Africa.
Right.
I said, yo, Kefla, you are absolutely correct. Because it's no way that y'all let these two whites win. And look at the caucus moving all over the place, all over the world. That's crazy to lose to dominoes in Africa as a Black person. Just don't fly back. Just don't fly back. Just stay there.
That's probably why that was Cuba going in. They probably like, look, we done lost a game that is known for our culture and known in our culture. We deserve to go in that elimination at this point. Because, like, what? It's crazy.
And then with the women's vote, obviously we knew because of the event that happened beforehand, Ayanna was one of the votes for the women to go in. Ace voted for Veronica, which is hilarious. He's like, I like Rachel, I like Tina, I like everybody. But I gotta vote for somebody, but it's not gonna be Forever Rose. But Veronica, you get my vote. And Laurel voted for Tina. She was like, I'm just gonna vote for Tina. It is what it is.
Burn vote.
Yeah, she didn't want to smoke with Ayanna. Like I said, she did not want that smoke. And
Ace
is always gonna give you that one-liner. Like he's just good for that, you know. So he's like, I like everybody. Actually, I don't have any problems in the world. Like, let's all get along.
And then Brandon's comment about wanting to throw in Ayanna twice.
Brandon was the first person too, and that's what's hilarious to me. So they started off the vote, and Brandon's like, "Okay, I'll start it off." They vote for the men easily, right? And then they go to the women, and they're like, "He's like, listen, if I had to vote, I'll vote for Ayanna twice, but then that means she'll come back, so I'll vote for her once. I'll say Ayanna and Rachel." And I cackled because Brandon, you're absolutely right. That makes sense. If she does go in against herself, she definitely is coming back. So, I mean, you got to put somebody up against her that's going to take her out. And I think that was the voting process all along. You know, Cam was pleading her case in terms of everyone voting for Rachel, and this so that they can really get Ayanna out of the house. And then, you know, other people started agreeing and voting like, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. We're going to stand with you. We're going to vote with you. We get to Cara's vote, and Cara's like, listen, I hear y'all. I see y'all, but I got a star. And at this point in the game, I'm not trying to really get into tussling with you girls. Like, I don't want none of the smoke. I'm just here so I can win. And so I'm just going to play my game, quote unquote, and I'm going to vote for Ayanna and Flora because she has the least amount of relationship with Flora. And in like a real world, I would have chosen Flora too. Obviously, Ayanna could beat Flora, and so I see why Cara voted for that way. But I think what hurts her, and like you mentioned, Megan, with what's going to happen later on in the season is Cam was really pleading her case so that she can get Ayanna out, because everyone saw how Ayanna acted the night before, and there was no question whether or not she should be going into elimination just off those actions alone. But I think when it comes down to like who should go against her, Cara chose Cara's side, and Cam wasn't really jacking that. And I get it. Cam definitely took some digs and was like, "Oh, we're friends forever." You know, she started bringing all that. Once you start saying all that and you start trying to cop those pleas, I'm kind of clocked out because I don't care. Like, that it's a game at the end of the day, Cam. So we got to remember that too. But I mean, I get why Cara did it, but I thought it was just funny that Brandon was like, "Hey, girl, if I could vote for you twice, your ass is grass. Like, you're going in."
For real.
True. I feel like at this point he the MVP of this episode. So if we were giving it out for the season for every episode, Brandon would have got it.
I mean, he definitely won 1A and Kefla's 1B for what he did in the elimination.
Boy, Kefla.
Because I done told you, Megan, I said he got one more dance move out of me. He got one more dance move out of me before I really start to be like, listen, Unc. And his one-liners were funny too. Everything was a relationship comp. If my son and I had a relationship and, this person was my son, 25, like, uncle. He's such uncle energy. I'm here for it. But, please.
And so with the vote, it's Syrus, Kefla, Rachel, Ayanna, and they're in the arena. And they're playing down the tube, which is, I feel like this is kind of like an elevated hall brawl in a sense. It looks more cooler than a hall brawl.
I liked it.
But I feel like it has that element.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked the game. This is probably one of the, in the most recent seasons, this show and the flagship, this is probably my favorite new elimination that they've had. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. It definitely was kind of like hall brawl, but with a little bit more strategy. But yeah, I liked
it. So basically, it's basically a hall brawl, but they have to push a ball through a tube, and it's spinning. That's the part that kind of got me. The tube was spinning, and it looked like it was like hydraulic on top of it too. I really liked how the setup was, but they're beginning on opposite sides of the tube, and they have a large ball in between them. And to push the ball out of the side of a tube on the opposite side. And the first person to do that twice wins the elimination, stays in the game. And Kefla really, he showed up and showed out, not gonna lie. He deserved to do his little dance at the end, because in the first round, he handled Syrus with a little bit of ease. Syrus didn't fight back at all in round one.
Yeah, Kefla, I was shocked. I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that coming from Unc. Like, he was in there playing like he was a good 21, 22-year-old. So,
I mean, I wasn't surprised just because like the weight that Kefla has on him, like he carries himself like he definitely, it's not just stout or like stocky, like he's working out low key. You know what I mean? He's probably doing like jail workouts, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
But and Brandon also said, which is hilarious, Brandon was like, Syrus actually he lost the weight at the wrong time. And it's so true because in the past, I feel like Syrus would have been able to handle himself a little bit more in this situation, just off the power and the brute alone that Syrus had carried with his extra weight. It wasn't in a negative way, but it's like he had more power in his who he is, and with the weight loss, it's kind of like you ain't hit leg day enough, bro. Like you gotta bulk up a little bit more. You can't just lose the weight and not do the muscles. Like that's where you're losing me. That's why I said Ozempic Syrus, because like it's like you lost all the weight, but you ain't hit no muscle with it. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta hit the weights with it. So I'm not surprised Kefla did it, but Kefla just decided to start popping it, twerking it, doing something on the floor.
Was funny.
He acted like he had a cramp and went straight into into it, and it just gave like, you want to be a Magic City dancer. Like, what are you doing on the floor? Everybody's rolling. Even TJ's laughing at this. Like, what is going on?
Because I thought for sure he did tweak something, but when he got down there and started, I died laughing. But let me make my point too. What you were saying about the weight, you see where the extra weight is needed in situations like this. Because when we talk about Rachel and Ayanna, I thought in the first round Ayanna might have got her because the way she was stalling and kind of had Rachel struggling a little bit. That extra weight is needed in stuff like this.
Yeah. But in round two for the guys, Kefla, Syrus held its own in round two, but the way that Kefla was able to kind of still push it to Syrus' side, but okay, we're good. Syrus is one and done. Came in and he out. That's like that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like at this point, with Kefla, I feel like he needs to be in like an old school dance group at this point, because if all of his dance moves, he needs to be doing some choreography. Like he if he can do the splits, I don't see him on the NBA court with the
So
old school dance group.
basically, you want him to be an NBA dancer with them old
Now
people
go.
at halftime.
Yes,
Whatever
I
city
do.
he was from, you want him to be a mascot.
Yes,
So,
I do.
I
I
want more from
do. I
him.
want to see.
he need to come back every season though. After his showing so far this season, they
Yeah.
need to be calling him.
Well, we'll talk about that, but he definitely needs to be back on this version of the show.
Yeah. Also, I'd have thought once I saw Syrus come back, I was like, him and Kefla are really looking like Spider-Man meme right now. That's what I was thinking this whole episode. Because
why? Because they black and old.
Yeah,
they both
they got
bald.
the same personality too.
Mm-hmm.
They both got a similar personality.
Look at you, pitting them against each other.
Yeah.
It was giving like Peter Parker. And it was giving that. They're the same, but different fonts. And I just had me laughing this whole time. Granted, Syrus cannot dance like Kefla. It was just funny this whole episode. Just seeing them interact. It's like, yeah, I'm looking at them like, something interesting. But that was just my recurring thought I had this whole episode with Syrus feedback. That was it. But in Rachel and Ayanna's round, I started talking cash shit to Cam, and Cam was like, huh? So she was like, if you want me, Cam, you better come out and get me.
She didn't even do nothing. She didn't even win, bro. Like, y'all gotta stop prematurely talking shit. Like, you gotta learn how the art of talking shit is to actually win and do something. Like, you can't try to troll or talk and you haven't done anything yet. This is where I was like, when she was over there busting the moves with Kefla last week, I was like, girl, you didn't even win. Like, you just finished. In this situation, she didn't even finish. She's still holding on to the walls, trying to figure out what's what. So you can't just prematurely talk anything. And it ended up just being Rachel was like, okay, like I gotta clock in. Like you've been watching me do fitness workouts on YouTube for a reason. So I'm gonna show you why. And she went in and she did what she needed to do. She round one, she got Ayanna. Ayanna came back. She's like, all right, I gotta focus up. Then she started calling on the name of her kids. Now I don't got no problem with that, trying to find motivation. But it is Ayanna. So like listen,
right.
What are we really doing here? Like I get it, but you gotta mentally try to do that internally rather than externally, because now you're giving your competition more motivation to be like, oh, she thinks she doing this? Nah, let me show her something. And Rachel got kids too. No shade. She got kids too. So she trying to be like, listen, you calling on your kids, I'm gonna call on mine. I'm gonna have to jump. Like, what we doing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we could get to mano y mano. So that's where Ayanna just lost it. But the premature talking to Cam, that's where she really lost.
Cam's what? I was thinking she was probably like, finish the damn elimination first before you start talking shit. Like, you got to make sure you get this shit done first, then you can start popping it. But I was like, Ayanna, come on now. Because in that moment when she was talking shit, she looked like she could have possibly taken Rachel to the end. But that's what happened when you start popping it.
All the way around run. Like, it just started. And you saying, Cam, if you want me, come get me. Baby, you didn't even get Rachel on the tube. You just
she don't want Cam might not win a lot of dailies, but if Cam would have gotten that elimination, well, now I don't know, but Cam's track record in them eliminations, I think Cam would have took her out. But I don't know. That would have been interesting to see though. Them two against each other.
I think it would have been a good battle. I do think I'm just interested. I think Cam may have. I think they would have gotten 1-1. I'm gonna give him 1-1. I don't know if I could give it all to Cam, but I definitely know that it would have been a closer game than it was in the situation with Ayanna and Rachel.
Because I feel like they both kind of like both of them strong. Like both of them, they black women. At the end of the day, they black women. So that's a different type of strength coming in. And then Cam being a mom too, she got a whole lot more that she's fighting for. So you gotta take that into account. And then Ayanna don't fuck with Cam. So at that point, that's more energy too. So that'd have been interesting to see.
So Ayanna and Syrus are now gone. And Kefla gets to steal a star. And he took Brad's star. And Brad was like, said something a little smart about it. It was like, Brad, you're not going to hold on to a star much longer either. So it's a good thing Kefla did steal it.
Like, what are you talking? I was like, Brad, shut up. You acting like you so hard to get a star from. Like, if anybody can get a star from anybody up there, I'd go for his too. Like I said, Brad with the leg day stuff, Brad is big up top. Down bottom, you ain't. If he was in there, he would have been gone.
Yep. And Rachel decided to. She didn't want to take a star, but she was like, okay, well, I'm going to take Tina's star. And I'll give it to Veronica. That lost me.
Which I still don't know what gameplay that is, particularly because the whole point of you 3 girls being back here is so that y'all all 3 can get to the final. And so Tina got hers just by luck. Okay. Once that happens, I don't think that you should be taking that from her because we don't know how lucky she'll get again. So the fact is that you took that from her to give it to Veronica, who we know for damn sure it will not have an opportunity at any point in time to really get hers. Now I feel like you're pinning them against each other, low key. Like it that was just such a weird move for her to even do. Like, and it's no explanation that I can really get behind to even figure out what that means.
Jen, I thought, like,
kind of. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna go get my charger too.
Because I was thinking it has to. I don't know. In my back of my mind, I was thinking it has to do with whatever agreement her and Cara had. That was what I was thinking. Like why she didn't take Cara's, but still to take Tina's still didn't make sense.
She could have took Steve's and gave it to anyone too. Like she could have took anyone's star. That's the thing. It wasn't just Tina. So for her to go after her friend is where I'm kind of like, what's that about?
Yeah, and it was stupid. I was like, what's the purpose in you taking it when you wanted all 3 of y'all to get a star? You said it at the beginning of the episode 1. Like, we need to get all 3 of us getting stars. And you have the opportunity to get all 3 of y'all stars, and you take it from Tina. And then, like Cam was saying, it's a punk move. And I'm like, what's the purpose in you doing
it? No smarts, no agenda, just like her performance in the daily. So that's that. But our star holders now after this episode are Rachel, Cara, Veronica, Steve, Adam, and Kefla. It's a decent group for the most part. But of this group, definitely Veronica and Steve are getting their stars taken. They're the next to get the stars taken. They can't hold on to it.
100%. I don't even know how Steve even kept his this week, to be honest. Like, Steve was looking so worried the whole time. He was like, he ain't even looking nobody in the eye. He like looking around, looking at his hands. Child, no, what he doing? But he kept the star. And so, I mean, we'll see how it goes for now. But I think that because it was a double elimination this week, which I did like, let's ramp this up a little bit, you know. I think it'll be easier for us to see how this will play out in the upcoming weeks and like who's going where.
For sure.
Yeah. And with that, the recap for the episode's over, but we've been doing the music thing throughout the whole All-Stars seasons, and there are 2 songs that I noticed from this episode. One of them being a Jessie J Domino song for the daily. Like I said earlier, it took me back to high school in my little Jessie J era. I don't know where that lady is now, but I hope she's doing well.
She can sing her ass off too. For a white girl, she can sing. She got some soul. I love her music.
Yes, she definitely needs a blast from the white soul pass. But I like Jessie J. I think my song choice was Britney Spears' "Lucky" because Tina was so lucky. Like
Mm-hmm.
it went well just because like Tina really caught a break, and then for Rachel to just take that from her, I still don't get it. And I think that's something has to play out in regards to that in that explanation coming up the next week because that just didn't make any sense.
And
Also,
Tina,
my other
Tina being
song.
Tina, I can't see her taking that well either. Tina, with Tina's history and who we know Tina to be, she better be checking Rachel next week.
Hopefully, one would think. But the other song I did have was the DMX song. X won't give it to you. Once they started the guys part of the nation, both of them started barking, and I'm like, hold on, what is happening? Then they started playing DMX, and I was like, okay, I get it. But it's funny because it's like DMX is also a bald man, and then
Here you go, Megan. Do they all look alike too?
no, but because one of them started barking, and both of them, it's not my fault that the music department was like, "Oh, we're gonna play DMX like this because somebody started barking." Okay, that's not my
I'm
fault.
not saying it's not. It actually went perfectly well. Like it actually synced up perfectly. Once Syrus did his confession and started barking, the only other person who is really barking on songs is DMX. God rest the dead. So, I mean, I would play that too.
So it was just funny, but it was a good delight because DMX is always a good time. So that was the other song that I had in mind.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, DMX.
Yes. And that's the segment. That was like I said, it's not been a lot of songs from like this season thus far, but there are some good quality songs that are in our lexicon. So yeah.
And that's what I love about All Stars, the old school music. Like you can't go wrong with old school music. That's when music was music. Like this shit that we listen to nowadays is not really music. But yeah, I enjoy the soundtrack for All Stars.
Same here. And quickly before we get out of here, the soundtrack may sound like what we hear nowadays because apparently, word on the street is that All Stars 5 will be filming next month, which is in a couple of weeks, and they have called people who we have most recently seen on the main show to be on All Stars 5. And I want to just reemphasize that this has been our plight this whole time and our worry for All Stars in terms of the direction that they're going. So they've called people from CBS, they've called people from International, and basically the cast of All Stars 5 is looking more like what we saw on season 39 or season 38 or 30. It's just like that's not the point of All Stars. And Mark Long needs to still be getting a creator's check after this point too, even if those people are casted, because the real reasons why All Stars was formed was for that older generation of folks to have a space to come on the show, to still compete and still feel like they're a part of the community that they've built for the past 20 plus years. And obviously we're getting to season 40 on the main show. Don't know how long that's going to last. That may be the last season. Who knows? But I will say bringing those people onto All Stars 5 is not the answer. That's actually going to decrease your subscribers. I promise you. Like, no one is clocking in to see those people on All Stars 5.
No.
At all.
And
No.
exactly what you said. Because the viewership is declining every season on that main show. And there's a reason as to why that is. I don't know what the ratings are for All Stars, but they don't pay attention to their audience. You look at your social media page and you look at the All Stars content, everybody loves it. Why? Because that's what we want to see. We want to see people that we don't see all the time that have been on the show that made the challenge, which was Road Rules people, Real World people, and then people that debuted on the challenge back in the long heydays. We don't want to see these people that we see every single season on the main show. And it just makes no sense to bring them on. Like All Stars is All Stars from when the show first started, what made the show what it is. But yeah, you talking about them losing subscriptions, they're probably gonna lose me too. Like I'm not watching that. Like this is the escape from that main show. This is the feel good show. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, and I feel like because they're pulling people for us around 40, and I'm like, if you're pulling people on 40, I know exactly who they're going to try and put on this, which is going to be that one lady that we all love to hate. And I'm
Victoria.
like, I don't want to see her, but granted, the portal is open for her because we have Cam on this season. That's the only reason why they would possibly want to put Tori on All Stars. And we don't need her on All Stars because we see her every single season. We haven't seen Cam in a while. That's why she's back here. We see Tori every season. That lady does not need to be on All Stars because she's going to ruin it.
Which is why I had a problem with the casting from last season. And I know it seemed a little premature, but bringing Jordan back, bringing Naya back, bringing Sylvia back, when you have a long list of other people, it seemed way too soon. It was way too premature. And then I feel the same way with this season now. Since you opened that door in season 3, now it's easier to bring back Cam and Leroy and Cara and other people. But you still got people like Flora, people that are still of that caliber, of that lineage, that you can really call back and reach to. We still not even gotten Coral on the show. So the fact is that there's so many other people in the data bank that you can get to before you even get to that. That's where I was like, all right, y'all already losing me on season 3. Y'all are not getting the people that y'all really need to get to really build a story. I feel like the reason you have 40 seasons, the way that the story has been built and told and brought back, you could have done so much more, and you've now made it into the cash grab or whatever you think this is that'll bring more people in, and it really won't. Like even though engagement is engagement, good or bad, I think that the people who are really watching this to enjoy it will not enjoy it now.
Because I don't want to see people from CBS on this. Granted, it's a Paramount thing, but I don't want to see CBS people on here because they already got their own stuff. They already have an All-Stars thing. They already have All-Star kind of seasons on Big Brother. We have returnees on Survivor at times. I don't want to see. I don't want to see Josh on All-Stars. That's gonna throw me off even more.
I don't even want to see him on the main show. Like, why do I want to see him here?
And then like the randoms from the internationals are no. Like if we wanted to do All Stars, we could have done it. We put a cap on it. Granted, Cam has been a joy thus far. Cara has been a joy thus far. Laurel has been a joy. However, they still have time to be on the other show. Kim at this point, not really, because she's a mother. She can't take that much time off to do the main show. I get that. But the other two, and possibly little Derek, he could have been on the main show. We didn't need to see him back either because he's still young. Johnny could have did All Stars, popped over to main show. There's different people that are picking and choosing, and I'm like, okay, some of y'all are still in the age.
She did go on back onto the other version of the MTV show, on the other iteration of it, just not on the main show, but she was on the other, on the international thing that they did. But the point of this show has lost the plot. That's the bottom line. We've already lost the plot last season. So I don't know where this show goes from here, but I mean, I'm just going to enjoy this season. We've been waiting for this for a year, and we're going to continue to watch for the drama that will hopefully unveil, for the rest of the season, because what that news just really just discouraged me, honestly, from even looking at this any further. But I won't be a Debbie Downer anymore. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys would like to follow us on Twitter, you can at Duel Alliance Pod. You can follow Grant and his recaps on his page at Grant LaShawn. It'll be in the description box below. And you can follow Megan at Megs and Hines. You can follow myself at Ace_S5. And we'll be back next week to discuss more All Stars 4. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.